You might have a Democratic socialist sprinkled here and there, but that ain't what America is. America's about capitalism.
Not anymore. Last night officially ushered in a new era for the Democratic Party, much to the dismay of MAGA and the establishment Democrats who are pulling themselves apart today as the Blue Tea Party arises, a movement that fights for the people, for the working class, the laborers of America, and is winning votes. Left-wing populism is here, folks, and there is nothing that scares Dictator Donnie like a people's movement.
They want a lot of communists to come in. I'm saying it a little bit differently, but the people that they're pushing are communists, and this country is not going to have communists. Thank you very much.
I can't even begin to describe the bricks that MAGA shit last night. Everyone from moderate centrists to the far right are absolutely losing it, and the fear-mongering is in full effect. Jesse Waters here looks like he's about to cry, and it's hilarious.
These people don't believe in borders, capitalism, our founding fathers. They're here to steal, punish us, and then throw around welfare. This is a third world takeover. This is what happens when you import the third world. Did you know that New York City is 70% non-white?
Let's take one step to the left of Fox News and see how they're taking it. Stephen A. Smith here, best friend of Sean Hannity, but also an Obama supporter, thinks that the Democrats are committing political suicide. The funny part is no one is convinced by this asinine ranting. Stephen A. doesn't even sound convinced.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me be very, very clear. If the Democratic Party becomes the likes of Zoran Mamdani, who, by the way, I like, I'm not trying to throw any shade on him or anything like that, but if the Democratic Party becomes him, you have no chance. You have no chance on a national basis in terms of the presidency. In Senate, seats in the House, you have no chance. You have no chance. I want to be very, very clear about that. You might have a Democratic socialist sprinkled here and there, but that ain't what America is. America's about capitalism. America's about dollars and cents.
Yeah, dollars and cents into rich capital owners' pockets, not yours or mine. You see, that's where even the moderates are failing to realize that the base has left them behind. We aren't moved by measured considerations from folks like Van Jones here, who can't even believe what he witnessed last night.
Well, first of all, New York City matters because the two most exciting left-wing candidates are here, AOC and Mamdani, but also this is the stronghold for the establishment, Schumer and Hakeem Jeffrey. This is a battle between the establishment and this insurgency, and the roof is collapsing on the Democratic Party establishment tonight. If Mamdani gets a hat trick, 3 out of 3, this is a new era for the Democratic Party. And you can't write off New York City because this is the place where both, it's the power center for the establishment and the insurgency. And they're going head to head tonight. And right now, this is no longer a movement. This is a movement and a machine at the same time.
What the establishment Dems are missing is that they had their chance to prove that their methods to stop fascism works. It was called Joe Biden's presidency, and while not as sleepy as Trump said, he wasn't exactly the antidote either. Left-wing neoliberalism is still hyper-capitalist in its nature, and capitalism is failing this country. It's the main cause of the cost of living crisis, and it's not exactly popular.
Okay, I'm just thinking back to when I was sitting here and Zoran Mamdani was sitting there when he was running, and I asked him about capitalism.
Yes.
And he had no problem saying that he had real issues with it. Okay, he wasn't afraid to say it. By the way, he ended up winning. It didn't hurt him. How do Democrats today view socialism compared to capitalism?
There's a reason why it didn't hurt him, and that is simply because this is one of the biggest political changes I've seen during my lifetime. Match up socialism, capitalism among Democrats. You go back 16 years ago, 2010, capitalism and socialism right there, favorable rating, 51%, 50%. Look at it now. Socialism clearly in the lead among Democrats. 66% of them view socialism favorably, just 42% view capitalism favorably. No wonder Mamdani had no problem blasting it.
The Corpo Dems are simply out of touch with their own base in more ways than one. The most glaring one being their support of genocide and this pathological need to coddle Israel no matter the cost. The Democrats are aligned with the Republicans on this issue, and it's been a main wedge between the voters and leadership. If Scott Jennings is going to bat for you, then maybe that's a sign that you're too right-wing.
Dan Goldman's only sin, I guess, is that he thinks Israel has a right to exist. And for that, that has been the principal issue in this. And you've got the mayor of New York City, Mamdani, out saying about AIPAC and Jewish Americans who have participated in our politics that they are, quote, monsters. What is happening right now in New York City, the Democrat socialist takeover of the Democratic Party, should frighten not just Jewish Americans, but all Americans everywhere, because this is the direction the Democrats are headed nationally. Look what's happening in Michigan, and it is frightening.
The Red Scare is over. The fear-mongering has finally worn off, and socialism is no longer a curse word. That's why we're seeing support for democratic socialists coming from very unlikely places, like the normie and Midwest mom-coded ladies of The View, who don't seem at all perplexed about what happened last night.
I'm not scared of the term. I think they're scared of the term in this country. But Social Security is a democratic socialism. Partly unemployment insurance is. The people who pick up your garbage, the people who take the fire out at your house, all of these things are democratic socialism. And there's a major reaction formation going on right now. If you see, we'll see soon, we're talking about it later, about Republican senators are turning, congressmen are turning on Trump. And people have had it with this right-wing, nasty politics that we've had to subject ourselves since this guy got into office. Well,
the center and the right want you to think that it's radical to provide health care, for example, even though we're the only country in the World Cup without universal health care. And that disparity is just too big for fear-mongering to work its magic anymore. Abdul El-Sayed addressed this idea of scaring off Republican voters perfectly.
There are some who've argued you're too far over to the left, and there are some who argue that you're calling Israel's actions in Gaza genocide, puts you outside of the mainstream of the Democratic Party.
Well, I'll tell you this. Everywhere I go, I've been to over 100 different cities, more than 400 public events. I've never met somebody who's like, hey, listen, I just want more money in politics, less money in my pocket, and Medicare for none. The truth of this is that they're actually really quite popular. The problem with it is that too often both Democrats and Republicans, we have these bipartisan consensus around issues that are critical to people's lives because both parties tend to take money from the same corporations that want to rig the system against us.
Oh man, this stuff gets me fired up. I feel like Alex Jones here. Put me in, coach. Just let me loose. If you're ready to join the movement, then check out your local DSA chapter and subscribe to US Democratic Socialists. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.
And let me tell you, I've been taken up to the third heaven. I've been jacked into the big plan. I've seen it. I can't even compute all of it. It's so fantastical.